Alright, boys and girls, so today what we're going to do is Chapter 5, Section 4, and the name of this is the Distributive Property. Now, before we do this lesson, there's a couple things that I do need to go over with you as review. First thing I need to go over with you is something called Additive Identity. And additive identity is just when you add 0 to anything, it doesn't change. So for example, if I had 1 plus 0, the answer would equal 1. It doesn't change. If I had a variable, let's say I had x plus 0, it would still equal x. When you add 0 to anything, it just doesn't change. Next thing I need to go over with you is something called Multiplicative Identity. And don't worry about these names. I just want to make sure you remember this and understand it. Multiplicative identity is basically that when any number is multiplied by 1, the answer is that number. So, for example, if I had 3 times 1, the answer is 3. If I had 10 times 1, the answer is 10. And again, if I had a variable, if I had x times 1, the answer is x. Now we're going to look at something called the multiplicative property of 0. And basically that's a fancy way of saying anytime you multiply something by 0, the answer is 0. So 3 times 0 is 0. X times 0 is 0. So now that we have that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the distributive property. So basically the distributive property states that if you're going to multiply the sum or difference by a number, you have to multiply each term inside the parentheses by the number on the outside. So let me just show you what that actually looks like. Basically what it says is this, is if we have something like this, say 3 times 1 plus 4. Now right away from the last couple sections we did, you could say, well, 1 plus 4 is 5, and 3 times 5 equals 15. But there's another way that you can do this. What I could do, I'm going to use the same problem here, is I could say this is 3 times each term in here. Now the terms are being added, so I've got 3 times this 1 plus 3 times this 4. Let me show you what I mean. 3 times 1 plus 3 times 4. 3 times 1 is 3. Still have my plus. 3 times 4 is 12. And 3 plus 12 is 15. So either way we get the same exact answer. You're probably wondering, why would we do it this way? If it's more complicated, why not just do it this way? It's a lot easier. Well, the reason why is because sometimes you're not going to have numbers in here. Sometimes you're going to have variables in here. And we need to be able to use this distributive property to multiply things when we have variables. So let's start out with an example just like this. Let's say instead of 1 plus 4, let's say we had 3 times the quantity x plus 4. So in case you didn't see what I did here, all I did was I replaced this number 1 with an x. That's it. So again, I've got the 3 is going to be multiplied by the first term and the second term. 3 times x plus 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Now notice I couldn't simplify this 3 times x anymore, and the reason why is because I don't know what x equals. This is a different problem than this one, so don't assume that the variable means the same thing it did in the last problem. X doesn't have to equal 1 here. Since I don't know what it is, I can't simplify it anymore. This is as simplified as we get. So basically what we found out here is if I wrote 3 times x plus 4, that's the same thing as writing 3x plus 12. And we proved it right here. So let's take a look at some other examples. Let's do a subtraction one next. Let's say I had 5 times quantity q minus 2. Well, I've got 5 times q. This is minus this time, and 5 times 2 is 10. So 5 times q minus 2 would equal 5q minus 10. So I'm going to put 2 problems up here. I want you to try and do them, and then after you get them done, I'm going to show you how you know what the answers are. You can see if you're right or wrong. I'm just go through how to do it. So here's the problems. Let's see. 4 times z plus 3. And the other problem, let's say 5 times 4 minus h. Alright, guest teacher, go ahead and pause the video, and when the students are ready, go ahead and press play, and we'll go over how to do this. Alright, so by now, hopefully you got everything okay, so let's see how we do this. Well, right here, we're going to distribute this, so I've got 4 times z plus 4 times 3. So I'm going to write that, 4 times z, and then I have my plus, and the next term, 4 times 3. And 4 times 3 I can simplify as 12, so I have 4z plus 12, and that is my answer. That's what that is when I distribute that 4. Let's take a look at this one. I've got 5 times 4 minus 5 times h. 5 times 4 is 20, so I have 20 minus, and 5 times h, I don't know what h is, so I can't really simplify it any further than that. So the answer is 20 minus 5h. Alright, so sometimes you're going to have negative numbers in here instead of just positive numbers being added or subtracted. So let's take a look and see what that looks like, and we'll also look at what fractions look like too. So let's see. What if I had negative 3 times v minus 4. Well, now I've got negative 3 times v. So literally I'm going to write negative 3 times v. It's a subtraction problem, so I have my minus. And now I have negative 3 times 4. Don't think of this as a negative. That's a subtraction sign. It's already there. So it's just negative 3 times 4. And negative 3 times 4, well, negative 3 times 4, that's going to be negative 12. If you're not sure about that, do it in your calculator. Negative 3 times 4. It's going to be negative 12. So now we have negative 3v minus negative 12. And that's it. If you wanted to write it as an addition problem, you could use keep, change, change, and you could rewrite this as negative 3v plus 12, but you don't have to. It's up to you. That answer right there is fine. This is a little bit more simpler, but that's okay. So let's take a look at another one. Let's do four times, let's do negative 2r plus 3x. Alright, so now we got a lot of stuff going on here. We've got negatives, we've got right here variables and coefficients all together, and distributive property. It's not as bad as you think. We're going to take this 4 and just multiply it by this term and this term. So we've got 4 times negative 2r. So literally just write that, 4 times negative 2r plus, and now we've got 4 times 3x. So you see what I did there? Basically, this term right here, that's in the parentheses, and 4 is right there. This term right here, that's in the parentheses, and 4 is right there. And this plus just gets brought down. That's it. So now, let's simplify this thing. So, 4 times negative 2. Signs are different, so it's negative. 4 times 2 is 8. And the r, don't know what it is, so I just write r. Still have my plus. 4 times 3 is 12. Don't know what x is, so I just write it like that. And that's it, boys and girls. We're done there. So I'm going to give you 2 to practice, just like this, and then I'm going to show you the one with the fraction. Negative 2 times x plus y, and the next one, let's do 3 times negative 2x minus 5q. Alright, so guest teacher, go ahead and hit pause if you don't mind, and then press play whenever the students are ready to go over these.